So this is why I'm here today. This trail, this is the first drop on a trail at Duthie Mountain Bike Park that I've had my eye on, but I've been too afraid of. Just been too scared to do it, intimidated every time. First couple times I saw it, I said, just don't need to do it. But as soon as I booked my trip to Whistler, I immediately thought, you know, I should try to hit that line before we head out to Whistler. And I leave for Whistler tomorrow and I still haven't done a single feature on it yet. So I left work, came straight to the bike park, and I'm gonna see if I can make it happen tonight before I leave for Whistler in the morning. Hey everyone, I'm Steve Johnson. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching my video. I'm here at Duthie Mountain Bike Park. This is my local park and trying to accomplish something special today, a little goal that I've had. I leave for Whistler tomorrow to go mountain biking for the weekend, and I've had something on my goal list to accomplish here at this bike park. This isn't exactly the place that I would go to prepare for Whistler if that's something that you're looking to do and you're local to here, but there's something in particular that I've had in mind, and I leave for Whistler tomorrow, so I got to do it. That's why I'm here. Rushed to make it here after work, and just got to the park, and I'm going to start warming up. Have a few trails I'm going to hit to warm up. Jubelani, Voodoo Child, Ryan's Eternal Flow. There's a couple trails that I'll hit once or twice, see how I'm feeling, if everything's jiving, and might give this trail a go if all goes well, so stay tuned.
Okay, here's a closer look at the trail, which starts with this wood drop that starts skinny, has a little bit of a turn to it, and then into this decent sized drop, which always has me afraid. When you look at it from above, it looks a little bit more intimidating, and I've always been afraid of it. I've never tried it. I did try running onto the wood at one point, and that's as far as I ever went. The second feature, you come around this berm and then you have this big monstrosity, a little gap on, and then you get this drop, which isn't a flat drop, which is nice, and then this nice piece of wood, which always has scared me because I'm worried about casing the last piece of wood with my back tire. And if I did that, I feel like I would just be bounced off into the woods. Obviously, you could roll this, but I'm looking at hitting it well and trying to actually clear some things. And when I watched a video with Skills with Phil, he actually gapped the whole thing dirt to dirt, never touched the wood. So put it in perspective for me. The next couple jumps are actually gap jumps with wood tables in between, so they're just tables. They're not too bad, but they're the biggest jumps at Duthie that I've ever hit. If I hit them, they'll be the biggest I've ever hit, so that has me a little nervous, but at least they're not gap jumps. The next couple features are actually not too bad. They are just a little funky. The first one that we're almost to right here is just sort of a drop, has a little gap to it, and ideally I want to clear it, but again, if I don't clear it, I'm worried about what happens if I case my back tire. You could just roll it. I've seen people roll it, and so I don't know what I'm worried about. The next one's a step up, which is pretty easy, and then this last one that you see in the distance is actually a gap, but I didn't realize it was a gap until I actually hit it.
So looking at that trail, if you've been to Whistler, you know that trail's nothing compared to what's at Whistler, and I'm aware of that. I'm not naive enough to think that this is anything equivalent to what Whistler has to offer. It's more for me about facing the fear of something that I've been too afraid of. And at Whistler, if you have been, you'll know that you encounter features and trails that just scare you a little bit. And I didn't want to have something in the back of my mind that I didn't do because I was afraid of, and it's not even on par with some of the features at Whistler. So that's why I wanted to do this before going to Whistler. And again, I'm aware that it is not as big or as scary or as gnarly as anything at Whistler, but I guess the theme for this video and today's ride is facing your fears. And these features, this trail as a whole, is not actually that hard. And I believe I have the ability to do it and to actually clear the jumps that are on it. But there's just been a mental aspect to it. So this is the last feature of the HLC line, and it's probably the biggest. It definitely has the biggest run in, carry the most speed, but it's actually not that bad, which is kind of how all these stories usually go. I tried it for the first time just a couple weeks ago, and it actually went pretty well. I rode out and ended up saying, hey, that's not so bad. And I had been avoiding it for probably like 2 years since I started riding out here at Duthie, and I finally did it and it felt great. I ended up doing it once with pretty low speed and everything was just fine, and I did it again with a lot of speed and I went pretty nose heavy, but again, everything ended up just fine. So I haven't done the run yet, but since I've done this and it's the one that carries the most speed, I figured I would take the Braveheart Trail up, which is what I'm standing on right now, and then just hit this one real quick, and again, just kind of build up the confidence, build up the feel for it all, and at least when I end the run, no matter how it goes, I'll have something that's pretty familiar. And I'd really love to conquer that mental aspect before heading out for Whistler tomorrow. So I'm gonna hit a couple more trails, a few trails to warm up, just build some confidence, and then hopefully I'm giving it a go after that. this is it. It's now or never. I'm going for it. Well, I did it. That was so sloppy and horrible. I don't think I cleared anything. There's one, the second to last feature, that I didn't realize had a little bit of an actual gap in it, but not a complete gap, like there was a bottom to it, and I fell in it. But the whole goal of today was to hit the line, to do the whole thing, and I thought I might do it in pieces, which is a pretty common way to do it, but I just did the whole thing. I thought about chickening out at the very beginning because the first drop's probably the scariest for me, but I did it, and then I kept going and I kept going. I did everything horribly, but that's kind of to be expected when it's the first time through. And now that I've done it, now that I know I can do it and it's not that scary, I can attack it a little bit more. I can panic brake a little less. Mentally, I'll have the freedom to not tap on the brakes so much, and I'm just aware of what the trail feels like instead of walking it or walking alongside it. So, end of the day, this trip was a success. I'd call it a success regardless. I would have put it out of my mind that I didn't do it and just had a blast at Whistler regardless. But that was a lot of fun. Glad I did it. I might go back and do it again right now.